Double counting means reporting the same numerical data twice when it shouldn't be, because reporting it twice overstates the overall result. Double counting must be avoided in any numerical data analysis which adds up individual components to reach an overall figure. In our case, the overall figure is the social and local economic value add, or SLEVA. Double counting in the TOMS can lead to significant overclaiming. The basic rule is simple: don't count the same thing twice. Sometimes it's obvious that double counting is happening. Let's say the UK government has figures for total jobs created in the northwest of England and another set of job figures for Greater Manchester. The figure from the two datasets shouldn't be added together because the northwest includes Greater Manchester, and that would be double counting. Sometimes the double count is less obvious, which is why you need to be careful. The most common area of double counting in the TOMS is inputting the same numerical data against more than one measure. Let's take a simple example. Example 1. If you give your team time to volunteer for a community project, you might find the description of the activity can fit under two different TOMS measures, both of which use the volunteering proxy but with different measure descriptions. In this situation, you should only record the volunteering time once, so you need to choose which measure to use. Double counting social value employment measures. There are social value employment measures that capture the benefit to society of employing people who experience a range of barriers to employment. There are two double counting rules for all of these measures. As we saw in the basic principles section, you can only count one social value employment measure per individual. So, if an individual is long-term unemployed and suffers from a disability, they can only be included against one of these measures, but not both. Also, each of the measures can only be counted once in the first year of employment for an individual. In other words, a maximum of 1 FTE per person can be recorded. This is because the proxy value covers the lifetime benefit of creating a particular employment opportunity. Here is an example. Company A employs an ex-offender with a disability who lives locally for a period of 2 years. The company's social value report for the 2 years contains the following information relating to this individual. Local direct employment equals 2 FTEs for the 2 years of employment. Employment opportunities for ex-offenders equals 1 FTE because of a maximum of 1 FTE can be recorded. Other examples of double counting can be a bit harder to spot, and we need more thought about what is really happening behind the activity being recorded. This relates to the relationship between the local jobs measures, in particular the ones that relate to the supply chain, and the local supply chain measures. The key point is this: if you are counting local jobs in the supply chain and you are also counting local supply chain spend, there is an implied double count here, because part of your local supply chain spend covers the cost of these supply chain jobs. There are two instances in the TOMS where you can enter the same value against more than one measure, which might look like double counting, but in fact, it isn't. We have already seen that the TOMS framework has two conceptual components: local economic value and social value. Local economic value measures cover local employment and local supply chain spend. What this means in practice is that some activities delivered locally can generate both a social and local economic value, and therefore be applied to two measures at the same time, as long as one measure is a local employment measure and one measure is a social measure. The first and most important instance is combining local economic employment measures with social employment measures. As we have already seen, all the employment measures use the same unit of measurement, namely FTEs, annualized full-time equivalents. This means that it is simple to count the same individual twice, once in a local economic measure and once in a social employment measure.